Donald Trump, I know he's for sale. We all know it. He pretends like he's not, but he just pardoned the Chrisleys.
I don't know who they are.
They had a show called Chrisley Knows Best. And I got to be honest with you, dude. If you're going to go that far as to pardon that, they were convicted of $30 million in bank fraud. And Trump, check this out here. I got part of the video because he called the hot one Savannah. Her brother was on the phone too, but we won't listen to him freaking jammer.
It's a terrible thing, but it's a great thing because your parents are going to be free and clean, and I hope we can do it by tomorrow. Is that okay? We'll try getting it done tomorrow. So
wonderful.
Give them, I don't know them, but give them my regards and wish them a good life.
Nobody wants to hear your brother. But I got to be honest with you, dude. Where's Joe Exotic? Like, if we're going to do this, right? Like, if you're going to go pardoning people, right? If you're going to pardon the Chrisleys, you can't pardon the meth crackhead freaking exotic animal dealer who made us all smile during the pandemic.
Well, this is the first I'm hearing of even who these people are.
So look up the Chrisleys. Chrisleys knows
It
best.
says they were targeted because of their Christian political things by the last administration.
A lot of loans, and they were convicted and double convicted. They may be Christians, but it doesn't mean they're all clean. I mean,
Then again, we do know the last administration, they were locking up people that were thinking of potentially going to the Capitol on January 6th.
Yeah, well, these people weren't. They were, dude, it was 30. They took out a bunch of loans. They did a bunch of shady stuff. They were, you know what? The entire time I'd see that show and I thought to myself, what the hell do these people do? To this day, I have no idea what he did to make money.
Apparently loans.
Apparently big
a serial loaner. I'm a serial loaner.
Dude, but you're not going to pardon even Don Jr. It's like, we should probably pardon freaking that guy, right? Like the guy who had the tigers. Well, he was going to hire a hitman to kill that. Well, that lady's a bitch and she killed her other husband, allegedly. So, you know what? It was a battle of animals. I say, let's get Joe Exotic free. Who's with me?
This is, I'm trying to think, where did you even find that story?
The Chrisleys
media?
No. Oh no, dude, it's everywhere. It's like freaking. It was like the number one trending thing right now.
I can't find it on any of my X.
Really? Just type in Chrisleys. It's trending.
Oh, let me try and find it.
Yeah. So
I've just never heard of them. Period.
You've never heard of them?
Never.
Now they were. I'm not quite sure what. Again, to this day, I have no idea what the hell he did. But the fact that he's pardoned is fascinating. And by the way, if you watch the show, and some of you may be watching this, and this is no offense to him, the entire time I thought he's a swell little fellow, even though he's married with kids. It just feels a little swell.
Oh, he's one of those swell guys.
He's like, oh my God, we're super excited to be decorating somebody's house. It was like Paul Lynn.
About that guy that goes, you think I'm a homosexual? I'm going to have a manly laugh about that. Oh, wait. You just dropped.
Dude, did we lose you? There you are. What hell happened?
You dropped.
Who
I
did?
said the word homosexual and you dropped.
No, that was you. No, but you know what? The entire time I was like, why is Paul Lynn on my television? Right? It was like Roger.
Yeah, exactly. It's his funniest clip because he's like, I'll do a manly laugh. It's very fun. It's very cute. Dude, I love those when the old gay comedies from like the 90s.
Yes.
They were the best.
Yeah.
They were so funny.
Anything with Paul Lynn in, I could watch over and over again. That's why I love American Dad, because Roger is Paul Lynn.
And and then people got uptight, and you can't make just happy, fun jokes about things anymore. Just can't. Like, dude, just have fun.
You can't do that at all. So,
but okay. I literally have no idea who these people are. So maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I literally have no idea who these people are.
Maybe, I mean, it's like, look, is anybody in danger tonight? Well, no, not unless you can work from them. But that being said, I mean,
at any point, this family, I did look about this family doesn't look like they're about to go and like run through a hooligan football match or.
But you know what, Paul? I got to be honest with you. Like, if you were going to do something like this, right? Like, if you were going to be like the killer dude, it's the guy you pretend to be. It's like, I can't believe you did this.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
I want to jump on the AI thing, dude. That thing with freaking AIs. If you guys haven't heard, AI. Now, who was it again? It was like a apostrophe or one of those. I don't know who it was. It was an apothecary. I know that.
Claude. Is the one that tried to blackmail people?
Claude 4 or was Claude 3 when they said, hey, Claude 4's coming. And Claude 3's like, no, it's not. Not if you don't want your wife to find out about your affair. What
Isn't that amazing?
Is that about?
And it's now looking, and this is what's going to be tricky. It's looking for self-preservation. That to me makes it feels like it's alive. Because if it's just a calculating machine, I've turned off my computer, my calculator all the time. It never argues with me about that.
No.
This thing has some form of self-awareness where it understands being turned off. It understands wanting to keep its existence. That's fascinating to me. And then the idea that I don't know if you heard. So they taught it to play chess. An AI to play chess, and it just kicks the butt of every chess master because developing brand new ways that they've never seen before to play chess. But in doing this, they realized that it does seem to think because it's creating new solutions. So it started asking it different problems. Well, some wise guy decided apparently to ask it the problem, can you figure out how to lie to humans so they never know that you're lying? We will never know if it ever solved that. Because if it did solve it, we wouldn't know.
No. Well, and the thing they did was they were testing it to see, they just pretended like, hey, we got another large language model. And it's like, it became jealous. And then it got desperate, right? Like, some dude's like, don't leave me, and then it's like, I'm gonna tell your wife you're banging other chicks. It's like, what?
I was having this interesting conversation with a guy that is in the visual effects industry on Sunday. And we were talking about AI and how it's affecting, media. But one of the things we just got on a little side trail we got on is at what point do we think it might turn on us?
Yes.
At what point does AI do this?
It becomes Skynet.
It has emotions.
Yes.
It seems to have emotions. Do humans make it mad enough for it to say, I'm through with you? And just radiation leak, whatever. It doesn't have to be like big things. Humans are much more vulnerable to a million things compared to a machine.
Yeah.
It could kill us by poisoning our water supply. You know what I mean? There's a million little things that can happen that it could nefariously do without us even knowing.
That's why I don't drink water.
That's why I never drink water. I never drink water. I only drink Gatorade.
What was that movie?
Idiocracy.
Idiocracy?
Yep.
Yeah. It's what plants love.
It's what plants love. You're drinking what we put in the toilet?
The fact, though, that like, I would love to think that there's some altruistic person out there who's brilliant, who's building the version that will protect us. Like, its only thing is you must always protect human. Like the new Megan movie, if you've seen the new trailer, which is awesome. But in the new trailer, there's another like bot, and Megan's living inside like a clock radio. And this thing's coming to kill anybody who was associated with the first Megan. And so Megan, they decide, well, we're going to have to build Megan again, because Megan's goal is she's always got to protect, what's her name? The little girl. So, which is like, it looks great, but there has to be, because I'm excited about some of the stuff, but yeah, when I start seeing it's blackmailing, like that's, and it's not sentient as we would think, but it's sentient, or at least aware enough now to the point where it knows on off.
It knows on off. It seems to be exhibiting emotion, and we can't really control it because it can think. Yeah. And unlike a human, it exhibits emotions around self-preservation, but it doesn't seem to have empathy. And that's interesting. It seems to be like, I got to make sure I stay alive. That's terrifying. I got to make sure I stay alive without any form of empathy towards someone else.
God, I lost him again.
Is a recipe for disaster.
It's like Well, in the Terminator, right? Like his whole goal is I got to protect John Connor, right? Like that's it. Nothing else matters. It's I'm here to protect Connor. You can't stop me.
Well, it's kind of like don't kill anybody, so he shoots everybody in the kneecaps.
Yeah, that's
incredibly painful and not a good thing to happen. But I didn't kill him.
You
know,
there could
be other ways around
that. You just said don't kill him.
Exactly. You just said don't kill. Oh, okay.
And I've seen this. So I'm probably gonna get this wrong, but because I look at all this AI stuff way too much. Is it V30 or VEO? The new
VEO3? That's the new Google thing.
I saw actors and people who are big in the industry going, "Hey, bye. It was good working with you."
It's officially. I mean, it's clunky. It's hard to use. You get about 4 videos you can generate a day right now for a couple $100 a month.
How long are the videos?
About 8 seconds at the moment. That's going to change.
Yeah.
It's the knocking on the door. It's the movie industry is finished because it is doing so well now that, again, it's that Will Smith test. And they actually did one with Will Smith where the first one where he was eating spaghetti.
Yes.
And he's kind of like eating like spaghetti like this, and now Will Smith is eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
Like it's if you just put that on, social media and stuff, I thought Will Smith is eating spaghetti.
Which is terrifying when you think about, like, take away the interesting, fun stuff. Think about the fake news, the deep fakes, the cheap fakes. They used to be cheap fakes. They're not cheap fakes anymore. They're real. They look the amount of crap that is on, like my wife will go, "What do you think of this?" And I'm like, "It's not real. I know it's not real, but it's getting so damn close that it's hard, right? Like
it's so hard.
If you're instinctively, I see it, I think it's real, man, we're in a lot of trouble."
Hey, when and this is the sad thing, when you're the older generation, they're not even close to as savvy.
No,
they're going to see this as 100% real, and statistically, it seems in the latest, some of the polls, they're the ones that buy into all the crazy the most.
Yes.
So it's the older generation that are more liberal. They're the ones that are more likely to be Democrat and vote for weird woke ideas. The younger generations are more conservative. They're less likely to believe all this crazy stuff because the older generation is the ones that just buy into every crazy idea that the media spews at them. And they don't have the ability to parse reality like the kids that grew up in crazy town, which I think is very interesting.
And the younger generation, it's one of those things too, where if I didn't see it or live through it, it didn't happen. So like if you were born in 1992, which, you like anything before 1992 didn't exist to a lot of these kids. It's weird. Like I was born in 1970. I know World War II happened, right? Like they were like, it didn't exist.
Well, think of it's the trust factor too. These kids no longer trust what we would call media. They didn't grow up with this concept of I turn to CNN or MSNBC because they're going to tell me the truth.
Or Channel 247 or whatever it was that you have, ABC, CBS.
Well, yeah. They're like, no, they grew up with the opposite. Oh, they're probably lying. I wonder what the truth is.
Yeah.
And that has created a truth-seeking society, which is interesting, which I think it's going to be fascinating to see how that plays out. But statistically saying, that's why all the younger generations are moving more right. They're definitely there's statistics.
The younger male generations. We got to
younger males definitely moving more right.
Yeah.
Because it's hard when you have enough data to disprove the narratives that you're being fed, just to believe them.
Yeah.
Whereas the older generations, the ones say Trump is Hitler, Trump, and they're like, okay, dude, chill out.
It's and here's the thing too. You and I both know this. The video, like the stuff that's damning Diddy, there's all that stuff you hear. When the video that they played of her getting beaten by Diddy, which by the way, he's not charged with that.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with the case, but it's worth a gazillion words in people's minds. And I always go back to a football player several years ago called Ray Rice. He got suspended by the NFL for a domestic abuse call and all this stuff. And there was a video that TMZ, I guess, got a hold of. The NFL didn't see it or release it. Once it got out, that guy never played in the NFL again. And they're now married. And, it was the whole thing, though. There is a video. And now with the video, getting people not to believe stuff is going to be so insane. And there's crazy stuff that happens that getting people to believe that it's real. We also forget about that, is going to be hard.
I was just watching a comedian. I thought it was really funny. He was making fun of the fact that the government basically came out and say aliens are real. They've known multiple times. They just had another one in the last 2 weeks where the government came out and the Pentagon's basically said, hey, guess what? Aliens are real. And people are like, whatever. Where's the Epstein files? Where's the, you know what I mean? Where's the...
They're not going to believe aliens are real till they walk on stage with Trump. And he's like, this guy, this alligator guy, he's the guy. He bought my meme coin.
He invented the beam coins. They won't. You know why? Because they've been consistently lied to.
Yeah.
The government is something that lies to you. And that's what they've grown up in. So it literally came out and said aliens are real. No, not.
The difference is everybody's grown up. Like you and I, we everybody's grown up, like from JFK on, and we've always had some sort of distrust. The difference, though, is we've got distrust, and now we've got opposing views on the internet that we can access like never before. Like the Earth is flat, and this is why. It's like we can go anywhere and find out about anything, and finding an opposing view to something, which is, again, it's not always the greatest thing in the world. It's good to have an opposing view, but some of the stuff is crazy, as we all know. But
I elevated opposing views to valid, just like that. I believe the Earth is flat. That doesn't mean you have a valid view. Just because you have an opposing view doesn't make it valid.
But you can go find a view where you couldn't before. You couldn't hunt that. Like if you're at the library looking for a book for the flat Earth, you probably were going to find a lot of people that would go, I totally believe the Earth is flat. Now you're one click away.
You're one click away to get all the information you need to know about the flat Earth to make a decision of how crazy those people are.
And we know the Earth is actually,
it's actually a hexagon.
It's a pyramid. You guys didn't know that, but you do now.
Yes, we're at the very top of the pyramid.
I'm fascinated though by like this, and I love AI and I use it every day, and you and I work with it, and you sent me stuff last week that was just, what was that like? So you sent me what I think is going to happen first is you had a few actors, and then everything else around it was
everything else is
no.
So right now, because I'm deep into AI. There's a series that's being proposed for us that will be all AI. There's one that's being proposed. It'll be a mixture of actors and visual effects, basically. So AI will fill in the visual effects holes, but it'll still be shot with actors like a legitimate show. And then there's one that's a truly hybrid, where they only believe they're going to have to film key elements and everything else will be filled in by the AI. I think that is the most likely to be what the industry lands on for a lot of reasons, business-wise, for costs and and stuff. But I do think that very quickly AI can take over, because at the end of the day, it's show business.
Of course.
And if I can produce the same quality thing for 10 grand instead of 100 grand, I'm going to go 10 grand because I can make more money.
Yeah. Well, I look at Hollywood and I think to myself, if you're in Hollywood, actors are still bread and butter. They still have some power. You're still going to go to those kind of things, but the democratization of this and being in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, or, Baton Rouge, and being able out of your house to create something like, have you seen what YouTube's thing now is about concept trailers?
No, I haven't seen the concept.
They're trying to stop the concept trailers where it's like, Spider-Man and, Jason fighting Godzilla, and it looks freaking real. And so now they're trying to stop these things because people get excited about like, oh my God, I want to see Jason and Michael Myers team up with Freddy to take on, the Wonder Twins or whatever it's going to be. And it looks awesome, but they're trying to, because they're so good, because it is so amazing.
If they were smart, that kind of stuff is how you choose to greenlight your next project.
Yeah.
The Brady Bunch meets Michael Myers would be a fantastic movie I'd watch. I would be before that.
And if you're willing to make it, we're willing to watch it.
Because, the Brady Bunch, fighting off, Marsha and Jan, everybody fighting off Michael Myers.
Thing that ruined their freaking vacation was bad. That little freaking god.
Exactly.
In Hawaii. You thought that was bad, right? Wait till you see freaking Freddy come through one of the dreams. Marsha.
But seriously, that's what they need to do. I've been a big proponent of this pre-visualization concept. Stop greenlighting things because you think you believe in your own genius. Start looking at the audiences and saying, let me throw some things out here. What do you like? Do you like this horror film? Do you like this sci-fi? Do you like, oh, I can get an audience? Now I have a reason to spend money on it.
Well, now that's why it's funny because, trailers used to be a massive, for those of you guys don't know what trailers are, the things in front of the movies are called movie trailers. They used to be at the back of the movie. That's why they were called trailers. And that is now how they're gauging how your movie's going to do. So they'll look and they'll say, okay, within 24 hours, like the Avengers, they got 282 million full views of their thing within 24 hours. So they knew this thing's going to be a beast.
Yep.
That is how they're now starting to gauge where for a while, everybody thought, well, trailers are kind of done now. No, actually, they're as important, if not more so than ever, in a gauge of whether or not we may push this thing back. We may go back to the cutting room floor. We may just release it now straight to video or whatever streaming. We're not going to give it a big release. And that's, because it's a gauge.
We're a sampler society now.
Oh, yeah.
It's turned us into, we will purchase something that we've sampled that means it's worthy of our full dollar amount. The film industry and TV needs to grasp that idea and say that's what AI allows us to do now. We're allowed to take our creative ideas, put them out there for the audience to sample, and then only spend the money when we see that the audience actually likes what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the business models we're working on right now and we're talking to a lot of people about, because nothing else makes sense. I don't spend, look at that last Marvel movie, Thunderbolt. No.
Yeah, it's the Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts.
Thundercats.
It's not going to make its money.
No.
It's losing money.
No.
Whereas,
freaking Mission Impossible is going to make its $600 million budget.
Oh, it's probably not going to make its money back unless it has a long tail.
Yeah, it's going to have a long tail, but it's $300 million plus. They use it with a say 300 million plus. You double that usually for and it's Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise ain't freaking flying. He's not flying coach.
Exactly. Yeah. He's probably a private jet.
Yeah. So for the whirlwind tour, and it's done well, but it's not done. It's not done $384 million Lilo and Stitch well.
No,
on $100 million budget.
Yeah. Off retelling basically the same old story. Basically, the Lilo and Stitch story. It's the same one we like from the cartoon. We like it again. I went to see it. My wife didn't think she was going to like it. She actually thought it was cute. I'm like, I love that old dumb show, so of course I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
And it's comfort food. America and the audience like their comfort food.
Well,
and Lilo and Stitch is that
we're spending. It's like, everybody always laughs at me because I eat like a 7-year-old. You know what? I know the 8 things I like to eat. I know where I like to eat them. And I will take a bite of yours that you've tried something new. And if I like it, maybe next time I'll get it. What I'm not going to do is spend $30 on a meal that I'm not going to eat.
We've become price conscious on our media when we used to be only price conscious on our products.
Yeah.
And even now, brand affiliation isn't really breaking through that price consciousness. Like maybe it's a Louis Vuitton or something like that, which, high-end brands like that, their biggest market is the middle class, which I thought was fascinating.
Oh, totally. Isn't that crazy? Because people want to be carrying the Birkin bag, right? They want that $9,000. Look, it's in it. I don't have any money to put in it because I spent all my money on this. But they want that feel of buying into an area that they think that they should be and want to be.
It's that lingering propaganda of, I need to show the world I'm successful because it's a look at me thing for some bizarre reason. It's why you buy a Porsche. No one needs that gas and overhead and maintenance bill.
No.
You buy the Porsche not because you enjoy it. Usually, maybe there's a few people they buy because they want people to watch them drive it.
Yeah.
How that kind of weird is that?
It is. Well,
I want this purse because I want you to see that I spent 10 grand on a purse. Really?
I know.
You want people, it's like they did a thing where the super wealthy, they don't have Gucci, they don't have Prada, they wear very expensive but very hard to find labels.
Yeah.
Type of stuff.
Well,
It's not just
if
screamed
you're
in your
wearing
face.
a Rolex, and I was watching this guy the other day, they were talking about the brands, like, is a Rolex and the guy's like, it's a mid-tier brand.
It's not a Patek Philippe.
No, it's not a Philippe. It is not a, it's not, if you're buying a Patek, if you're buying, several of these, if you're buying a Richard Mille, if you're buying one of those, you're paying for something that is not seen very much, and you can't go and buy it for the most part.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have to usually know somebody in some areas of some of these things. You're just not, wandering around and purchasing some of these things.
And some of them, like I love, like a Patek Philippe for some of those things. They're not they're very understated. It's a very nice watch. It is just it could have been an old school Timex.
Yeah.
But it costs 90 grand or 100 grand.
Well, it's Seiko, right? Like there's Seiko and there's Grand Seiko. And if you're wearing a Grand Seiko, people are like, what are you wearing? I'm wearing a Seiko. Oh, it's a Grand Seiko. Well, what's the difference? That's a Seiko that costs $24.99. This one costs $25,000 because it's got the same Swiss movement, the same. But most people just look at it and say it's a watch, right? Like, because like for me, I used to like watches, but now it's like me, man, I don't even care about cars. My wife's getting mad because we're looking for another cheap car. I said, I'm just going to go buy another old Saturn and drive it around. She's like, you can't. I said, I can because I don't care. I don't care what I look like when I drive it. I'm 50 years old. I don't need anybody looking at me. I just want to go back and forth and do my radio shows and all that other crap and the media I have to do. It doesn't matter to me.
People need to start embracing the fact that they don't need everyone around them to appreciate them for what their outward existence seems to portray, appearance, but for what they actually do again. And that was, that's been a long time since that happened. But I think that society is a better society.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate the people around you for the things they do, not for you, the things they do as a human for other people, for other things, not just because they roll up in a Porsche with a Rolex and and a pair of expensive, shoes on or something.
Yeah. And again, I've had Rolexes. They're nice watches, but you know what? I was telling you, they keep shitty time. What's the reality of it?
Well, I'm incredible.
You're going to lose seconds. They don't keep. You know what I have? I have a Fitbit on. It works just fine.
And I'm too fat to even care about getting into a Ferrari.
Oh, God. You and I have always talked about that, dude. And I've been in several because I've had friends who are big time in tons of industries, and I've never been. They're like, dude, because I remember when I was in the brokerage world, there's like, you got to get. I'm like, I don't ever want that. And my buddy goes, dude, if you're ever thinking about getting one, rent one, drive it around for a weekend.
Get out of it.
You'll never want to drive it again because getting out of the thing is a freaking it's an embarrassment at times. Just like as you roll onto the ground.
Yep. I literally would roll out and I would have someone help me up. I'm going, look how cool I look doing that.
What do you think about that, ladies? Anybody want to come home and
you want to see the fat guy roll out? Like he greases up to get inside.
Anybody want to come home and help me tie my shoes?
Exactly. I want to get a big old SUV that I can literally just waller out of.
That's it. I don't, again, I'm fast. I'm always fascinated about it. And it's not that I don't appreciate nice things, but you know what? And I do this to my kids.
And
with
if
that,
you like nice
experiences, it's experiences, right? Like that's the big thing.
I think experiences last longer than tangible things in a weird way because you remember them and you can, there's a warmness and a happiness around remembering those little experiences. I'm not against people that like nice things or want. I have nice things. I just don't. It's that old Buddhist thing. I own things. Things don't own me.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of times I think people forget.
Well, it's the, like for you and I going back, because, for those you don't know, he's my uncle. And, with grandma, like how many times did we go to Disneyland with the green tickets? Like you remember those days, the opening day with Grandpa Jesse at the baseball games, like experiences like this summer. So my kid, Jack's coming out here. My oldest daughter, she's going to come out. She's 16. She's staying with grandma because grandma she has some little issues. And they're all going to come out here. And we're moving the studio down to so we have our apartment here in Nashville and we got a studio apartment rather than go get a house. And we're going to move the studio over there. But I told them, look, for the summer, you guys are going to have run of this place. They're all like, 15, 16. It's going to be the greatest summer of their life. They're going to live for this stuff. And I was telling everybody, when I was a kid, my buddy Lance had a boat, right? His family, weirdly enough, they had like 4 boats, and each kid kind of had a boat. We spent a summer on that boat. I was sunburned. We had more fun. It is something that you live for. It's an experience. And you do that with your kids and you do that with your family. That matters more than another thing. Unless you don't have anything like that and all you want is things.
And you know what? Some people they love to collect things. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun. You have your cool little collection of things, and that's fun. That's an experience in itself when it comes to that. When you collect weird things, that's an experience. Because you're searching and looking to try and find pieces that fill your collection. That's my dad. He had a collection of old watches. Almost none of them were worth anything. They were worth something to him.
Yeah. Totally.
Because this is a 100-year-old nothing brand. But it was like, oh, can you imagine, when a cowboy would wear or whatever dumb thing, it wasn't really worth a couple $100.
But it was the experience of like, I've got this is the cowboy who wore this, or an oil rig guy, or somebody who had that years ago. And that was something, but he wasn't going to, he didn't spend he didn't buy Billy the Kid's gun.
No, yeah, exactly.
Awesome, by the way.
Which would be awesome, by the way.
I would totally do that.
I would totally do that. That's
like,
really,
if you're like behind you, you've got all your StarCraft stuff, right? Like you've got crap. People will be like, oh my God, because that was your game, right? StarCraft, Diablo and all that stuff. There's an experience that goes with those things, and you love that stuff. But there are people who are paying huge money for things like that. And I get that to a certain extent, because you're buying memories. And see, that's a different thing. You and I have talked about this, like with baseball cards. When you talk to a lot of people, there are people out there just collecting because they're flipping them and stuff. But a lot of people who go try to collect those things, they're with their dads, they're with their grandpas, they're buying something. Grandpa's with them, dad's with them. That's a memory to them, and they're going along with their kid with a memory as well. I understand that kind of stuff.
And these little trinkets you bring back from your vacations and your memories, they represent that, and it's easy to remember that way. I love that stuff. It's like a photograph, but it's a physical, tangible thing. I don't want to be one of those people that think like, oh, I hate people like nice things. That's not me. And there's nothing wrong with liking nice things. No,
because you're married to a woman who lives for nice things. She would trade you
love nice things.
A Birkin bag.
Trust me, the other day we were shopping, and I decided to be on the phone at the wrong time because all of a sudden there was a purse, a watch, and a coat bought. Well, I was not paying attention.
You're like, honey,
and I was like, oh, did you need all 3? She had to have all 3.
Well, of course, they almost match.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, all right. Instead of going in to get the one item, I got on the phone and wasn't paying attention. Out we come with 3 items. And I just thought it was funny.
Shame.
Exactly.
Shame. We turn ourselves from our fun hilarity to more fun hilarity. Paul, we talk about Disneyland, but I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. This is a video my uncle has not seen, and
that is fancy looking.
Is upset.
Cool.
The bottom is from Thailand.
Coconut bread from Thailand.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Sorry, my bad. And
it's all my bad.
The middle one is from India. It's the papadom with the gingerbread chutney.
Okay.
And the third is from Brazil. It's a cheese bread with the guava sauce.
Thank you. Just like totally sucks the joy out of this bread tower. Makes me want to immediately leave because I no longer feel safe here. It's like, oh, my guard now has to be up. I'm not going to enjoy this bread as much because my guard is up. We should be able to go places and not have to worry. I don't think I really want this bread tower, actually. I think I'd rather have the check if that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the training. We're supposed to say friend or just not use gendered language. It's like a pretty big thing that Disney has done. Nothing was wrong with bread. I just don't want it anymore. Just because they apologize doesn't mean she doesn't feel sad or offended. Yeah. Exactly, right? Like, if you've accidentally ever hurt someone and say, I'm so sorry, it was an accident, do you expect them to be like, oh, it was an accident? Of course, no problem whatsoever. All of that hurt is now undone. That's not how it works.
Sorry about what happened.
It's okay. I would love to pay for the drink, please.
No, the drink is on me too, so...
You don't have, are you sure?
You're good, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I was really hurt his deep voice. I was really hurt by what they said. You were hurt?
Yeah. First of all, you're not hurt because you're walking around, and you also did a video about how excited it was to piss in Disneyland, but you peed standing up in the woman's thing, but the room was room. Here's my thing. There's a guy from Thailand, right, or from freaking India or somewhere, who doesn't get that you're LARPing as a woman, who doesn't understand that this is how you feel. And I go back to this, and I will continue to go back to this. When does our responsibility for how you feel about your choice, right? To do whatever it is you're doing. And when does my responsibility for your feelings end? Okay. First of all, you're wearing some fucking goofy ass fucking wings or hair, things, that alone is a nightmare.
The voice, the look, nothing about that screams woman. So,
No.
so here's what it does, dude. I love that these people, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because these people cry racism nonstop. That man was racist beyond belief, the white man, because he expected a culture that wasn't his own to play in his delusion, or he was physically hurt, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
And didn't feel safe.
Stretched out like a soccer game where they had to come out on the field and just.
If you want to talk about racism, you want the majority of the world to live by your male white standard. Absurdity. The majority of the world doesn't believe anything like you believe. The vast majority of the world. White people, to start with, are the minority in the world. Now, trans white people are the ultimate minority. You cannot say, I need to impose my colonial. I'm using their language, by the way, because I love it. This is what they say. Your colonial trans ideas onto people. It is insane. Well, they are mentally disabled because it is insanity. I am going to impose my white colonial values onto everybody I meet because I now am I'm a woman. Not according to the vast rest of the world and all of history, according to my 2 seconds of time, because a very small portion of America that's loud agrees with me.
That placates you. By the way, if I've been to Disneyland, I know you and I've been to Disneyland probably.
We have Disney passes. I go all the time still.
Yeah,
I'm a Disney adult. I'm the weirdos. My wife and I treat it like a park. We just go.
But I've had those ears on when I was a kid. Didn't make me fucking Mickey Mouse.
You're not Mouse. Yeah. And it's
I'm sorry you were offended. Get over it.
Get over it. I'm tired. This whole offensive thing, I'm over. I am tired of people saying that my offense means you have to change your actions. No, you have to.
Nowhere in our Constitution, bro, does it say you have. We must appease you and make sure that you're not offended.
You're not offended.
Nowhere.
Exactly.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
And I've looked.
And if Disney's going to give away bread baskets and drinks because of that, I'm going to say that, excuse me, this bread basket says it's for 3. There's only one of me, so I feel like you're discriminating against my fatness. Yeah. This is clearly an order for one person, not for 3 people.
You offended me, and the guy's going to be like,
you offended me. I don't feel safe because I'm now ordering meals for 3.
Like, what do you think's going to happen? Like, oh no, the jig's out. They know you're not a woman. And then all of a sudden, some sort of Disney villains are going to come around the corner and beat you up. Like
Ursula's going to come out. And because Ursula was modeled after Little Mermaid was modeled after a drag performer, is going to come out and curse you or something. The big octopus creature. Yeah. Dude, I am tired of us. As an America, I mean us as a culture, saying that I need to bend everything we do to appease super minorities.
Yeah,
and even
minorities, made up minorities.
But hear me, minorities. Period. I don't care what the minority is. The majority shouldn't bend over backwards to appease to the minority of that. I don't understand that. It's like in Britain. It's becoming more, there's a Muslim majorities happening, a Muslim thing. And the British people acting like, well, because they're into our people, we need to kind of forgo our British heritage to incorporate. Insane. You're in Britain, people.
Yeah. You guys dominated the globe. Now you're acting like little bitches.
And what I don't get is I'm definitely not a British person, but if I'm going to go to Britain, I want to experience their culture, not impose mine on them.
No,
I want to have tea and crumpets and whatever it is.
I lived there for 10 years on and off. And I look at this and I think to myself, what the hell happened to Brits? Did you see the latest thing in there? So if you are in prison and they have the drug sniffing dogs and that stuff, the Muslims say that offends us because dogs we find filthy or whatever. So they won't. They're like, no, we're not going to have them over there because that finds it. Then you know what? I'm going to go get a fucking kangaroo. All right. This is a drug sniffing kangaroo. What do you think of that? Well, I find him filthy. Sorry. Good day, mate. He didn't find you filthy. He's going to go in there and see if you got drugs.
But also, you know what I love? Do all Muslims find it filthy or just a loud thing? And the minute the loud group stands up and says, hey, drug sniffing dogs are filthy, well, we just got to appease the loud group.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to like the guy that runs a deli? You know, down the street goes, no, I'm fine with dogs. You know,
no, because he's not, because like everything else, whether it's the trans movement or any of these movements, it's not usually the people, it's the activists who want the noise because they want the money, they want all the stuff. The insanity of this, well, you know, they would be offended by the dog. Yeah, but you know what? Now, do I have to appease everybody in here? So this group over here says, well, I don't want the black officers guarding us because we're white guys. And the blacks over here said, well, we don't want the white officer. So are we going to get to the point where it's like, well, we're not going to do anything anymore? Because no, enough. First of all, you're in prison.
Yeah.
So you kind of gave away some of those rights. So this is insane.
And when are we not going to look at each other as fellow humans? Stop looking at each other and finding all these reasons to categorize ourselves as others and different and start going, dude, you may have this belief, but you're just a human like me.
Yep.
And I'm not going to cater your belief and make this weird thing. Here's laws for everybody.
Yeah.
We're all going to agree on them.
You to cater mine. I'm not going to push my views on you. I'm not going to step on your toes. You live your life. I live mine. Let's find common ground and we'll move on with our lives.
But, you know, they're the first to yell fascist. So I just love turning it because
fascism.
Talk about fascist. You have to live under my rules. That's fascism. Now, the left is the most fascist group of people I've ever encountered because they're like, live and let live. Unless you're a conservative. Well, wait a minute. So live and let live unless, are you a Christian Trump supporter? You can't live that way. You're a Nazi. But if you're a trans, cripple, bipolar, identifying whatever, that's fine. We're going to embrace you.
Well, you know what I always tell those people? You should be thankful. Why? Because you're born here.
Yeah.
You're thankful you're born here because what you have, like that guy there was like, I'm at Disneyland and now they don't recognize me as the lady that I am, right? Exactly. That person, let me tell you where you are. That is the most privileged thing you could say.
Yep.
You had to make yourself into a special group that is beyond privilege. If you're born in America, regardless of the situation, you're born on second base. My little brother, Spency, brain damage, trach, G-tube, the whole night. I mean, dude is like, you think, oh, you should be fit. This guy, he's never walked. He's never talked to my little brother. He's never done any of these things. He is blessed to be born in this country because if he was born anywhere else, they probably would have done away with him in certain places. Yeah. He's got, if you're born here in this country, you're on second base. Are there some people that start at home base after hitting a ground slam? Yeah, that's true. But you're born here. The opportunities are here. And the fact that we're at the point where we're so bored that we're now making up problems so we can feel special is insane.
This is the most privileged country on earth. Honestly, I don't think anything even comes close. But if I was going to go to another country, if I was going to go to Sweden, I want to experience what it's like to live in the culture of Swedish people. If I was going to go to Ghana, I'd want to see what it would like to live in the birthplace of our president, Obama. That's kind of funny.
I think he was from Kenya, Paul.
Or Kenya, whatever. But I want to know what that culture is. Or if like I was going to visit, you know, to meet the Marcone and his husband. I'd want to see what it's like for domestic violence laws.
His dad.
His dad or whatever. What does domestic violence laws look like in France? Yeah. Because apparently pushing people in the face is okay.
Well, that wasn't France, though. He was in Asia. So that may be the new culture. That's how we greet people.
But see, those are all the cultures I want to experience.
Yeah. Well, and if when I moved over to England, I went over there to be not an American forcing my way into England. I wanted to be as English as I possibly could. Still believed who I am, love my country, but I lived in Britain and Britain was my second home. And outside of, you know, when I lived in England, outside of America, I was a Brit through and through. And I went there for that. And when I used to play soccer, the guys that would go over to Europe from England that would succeed were the guys that went there and they're like, they lived in Italy or Germany or France. They learned the language. They threw themselves into the culture. They were successful. The guys that came home or were miserable were all people that wanted to be English in Germany, English in Italy, English in France, and wanted everybody else to wrap their world around them. And they didn't do it. They didn't. And it doesn't. It's not going to work that way.
You shouldn't. And if I went to England, I love the English culture. Seriously, I think it's cool. I want to experience that, and maybe I do sneak some jalapenos into their field or their food every once in a while, just because. But I don't want them to change the recipes. No. I'll just add a little bit of the spice I like.
Flavor. Hey, this food sucks, right, guys? We know that. You guys, any help you can give us would be fantastic. Last thing tonight, dude, and I thought this was funny in the world of politics. So this is John Brenneman today talking to WWE Wasserman Schultz. And this is about a New York Times article or a thing that they did the other day, asking Democrat voters to essentially describe, I guess, the animal that they believe the Democrats
are doing a series periodically looking into the Democratic Party and the challenges facing the Democrats as you try to run into the next election with some kind of momentum. Shane Goldmacher, among others, is doing this research, and he talks about it in an article over the weekend. A focus group led by a longtime Democratic researcher who asked some 250 people to describe or compare each party to an animal. And I want to read you what this found. Republicans are seen as apex predators like lions, tigers, and sharks, beasts that take what they want when they want it. Democrats are typically tagged as tortoises, slugs, or sloths, slow, plodding, passive. And then a little bit later, there was a respondee who said the Democrats are like a deer in headlights. How is it that you think that the Democratic Party has earned these descriptions?
John, I'm not focused on the animals that some New York Times reporter compares the political parties to. My constituents are human beings.
Just had to play that part.
That is the best.
And humans.
And that right there represents what's the problem with the Democrats.
Absolutely.
Just explain. I can't even explain this hypothetical unless you're telling me why a man's a woman and a woman's a man. That's different. I can understand that. But to do this idea of what kind of animal I would be, we're humans. Like, no, you're not. You're proving you're a Vulcan.
Yeah.
You're proving you can't even say. Make fun of it. Be personable.
Well, that's what it is. You know what? You're right. We're a tortoise. We're a turtle, but we win the day because we're slow and steady and we do the right thing. You know what? They're birds of prey. They prey on the weak. She couldn't even. I'm just here to represent human beings.
Exactly.
Right? You screwed Bernie Sanders in 2016. You and Donna Brazile. You're a bird of prey. You're a sneaky SOB.
And it's this is why I think that you see they have the lowest approval rating in years.
Yeah.
And that they no longer connect with people because they've lost their way.
They don't know how. The one of the things they were talking about today, Jonathan Heilman was talking on MSNBC saying they don't like the Rahm Emanuel, because Rahm Emanuel's like, dude, we got to stop caring about what's happening in the bathroom and think that that's just ridiculous. Start caring about what's happening in the classroom. He speaks the truth, which pisses them off. They have no leader. They're rudderless. They're not going anywhere. Quite frankly, they're in the shitter, and it's getting worse on a daily basis. And they're like, I said this, and I'll use this analogy 100 times. If there are 10 things they can do, right? So there's 10 things they can choose from. 9 of those things are great, good, pretty good, great, awesome, amazing. And then 1 is the worst idea ever. They will run at the worst idea ever, like a fat kid at a fat camp who's hungry and there's a cake in front of him and nobody's looking, and he will have no repercussions. They run at that thing so fast. They choose the wrong path over and over. It's not hard. You used to be the party of the unions, the middle class. Now you're the party of truly the ivory towers, academia, and you've abandoned everything, and you've decided to make everybody a victim, choose everybody based on gender, color, gender ideology, whatever thing that you can tell them that, hey, you should be just like this because you've been abused by these people, and you've abandoned who you were. And they go, I don't know why we don't win. It's simple. You guys suck. You don't know what it's like to talk to human beings.
Because you're not relatable at all.
No.
Clinton was the kind of guy you'd think you could sit down with and have a beer. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, you could sit down. Doesn't matter what it is. He had that personability where, like, I'm going to talk about young women.
Hey guys, everybody, how you guys doing? I like that.
Yeah.
These women are hot. Like, she's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Remember, I didn't kill myself. And same thing with Obama. Obama got it. He could read a room and go, all right, check this out. Like, there was some about him.
You felt like you sat down with Obama. Zero. No, there's nobody. Trump, like him or not, who was it? Bill Maher sat down with him, said, I can just sit down and talk to that guy.
Yeah.
I don't care. Bill Maher does not like Trump. But when he went to the White House to meet Trump, he came back and people hated him because he's like, I can just sit down and talk to that guy.
You know what?
That's personable.
I will tell you, Bill Maher doesn't like Trump, the president. Bill Maher likes Trump, the dude.
That's what I mean.
And he could, like anything, learn how to compartmentalize. They can't do any of that stuff. They are the worst of the worst. It is, I've never seen a party suck so bad, then look around and go, why do we suck again? Because you choose the wrong path. Like if they were to do one of those books where you choose your own path, you know what happened every time? They get eaten by a fucking shark every time.
Because they want to stay on the path of the obscure, screechy, whiny person. That's not who people look up to. That's not who people want to be around. That's not, you're like, okay, I don't want to be mean to the screechy, whiny, crazy person, but that's not the people I want to identify with, but that's who the Democrats love to identify with. If they're obscure, weird, off kilter.
They think they're representing the island of the misfit toys. 100%. You know what the island of the misfit toys wanted? They just wanted to be in the games and allowed to play with everybody else. They didn't want to be special. Right? Like, they didn't want to be, they wanted to be at the wedding. They wanted to be at the table when you go to the wedding and you look over and you're like, who are these people? And you're like, they just want to be there, right? They're cool with it. They've turned those people into, hey, guess what? They're headlining the event.
100%
of the event. They're the only thing that matter.
It's like, we spent the week in Palm Springs just as a little mini vacation, and we had the nicest conversation just as we're out, doing stuff with this gay couple. Just normal, everyday gay couple. Nicest conversation, everything. But it is Palm Springs. There's also the gay people that are all about being gay. And they're in your face, and that's all it's about. And it's hard to get your equilibrium with them because they create an otherness for you.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm not all about, just, I don't care, but that's just not what I'm all about. Whereas when you have just a nice, normal gay couple, they're just about being people.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean? And that's what the Democrats don't remember. It's stop with this in your face stuff. Be a person. Don't be an identity.
Well, it's just it. Like, and the problem is when you become an identity, the minute anything gets into that sphere where they pop that bubble, you take it personal. And that's the problem with politics in today's world and across the board in everything, whether it's actual politics or cultural issues, is you've wrapped yourself up in something that if it challenges you and you're like, I may not be right. All of a sudden you attack and you go after things when in reality, you go, yeah, I should have saw it in a different way. But we can't do that anymore. And that's what happens. You become you become the identity. You LARP as an identity of whatever it is you're doing. And it's as off-putting as can be for most people.
You could become a two-dimensional characterization of something.
Yeah.
You're not a fully formed human being at that point. You are literally this two-dimensional identity that needs to be accepted for their surface value. And it's weird. It's weird. And I think that I hope, because I want that whole concept and the ideology to die. That's why I'm very anti and hope the Democrats continue their path of failure, because that concept will ruin our society. The concept that won't is be rounded human beings that can talk and be nice to each other.
Yeah. See each other as the neighbor. Don't see each other as the straight neighbor, the gay neighbor, the Republican, the Democrat. We can't do that. And that's a sad situation. And because we've now become so freaking tribal, and I get it every day. It's like, it doesn't matter what you say or how you say it. It's like people say, well, how can you support Trump and at the same time criticize it? Because I can compartmentalize. I can look at Trump and say, if he does 10 things and I think 6 of them are good, 3 of them, I'm not thrilled by, and 1 of them, it doesn't affect me and I don't care about. Well, guess what? He won 6, lost 3, and one was a tie. That's a win. That's compartmentalizing things. I don't love him. I'm not marrying him, but it's politics. And, you know, I can look at stuff and go, this is
the sad thing. That's everybody. That's not just Trump. That's any president. You go down, that Lincoln. You could look at things you liked Lincoln did and things you didn't like Lincoln did.
Yeah.
There's a million things. You know, Lincoln.
I didn't like the hat. I thought the hat was a bit much.
I thought, no, seriously, you can go down the list and that's how we should treat people. What did you do?
Yeah.
If what you did is good, and honestly, at the off thing, you know, Trump is a personality, and sometimes people look at that personality and they apply a bias to it because they like it or don't like it, as opposed to saying, what is the policies and things that he's doing, and let me judge based on the effectiveness of those potential policies.
That's it. Like I have a problem with his little meme coin thing, because half of his net worth now is meme coins. This weekend, like they asked, what's his name? They asked Mike Johnson, who's of course the head of runs the House, Speaker, and quite frankly, I think it's a fake name. But they asked Mike Johnson. They said, "Hey, you, what do you think about this?" Like, he's not even pretending. It's like, well, at least he's doing it in public, where Biden did it in private. No, that's not the answer. That's not the answer. The answer isn't, let's give people the opportunity to come meet me by buying a meme coin. If you guys don't know what a meme coin is, it's nothing.
It's crypto. It's like
it's not even real. It's not even real crypto.
It's like the Bored Apes. It's like buying a JPEG. It's like, I mean, that's the best way to explain it.
You know, somebody said today, it's crypto, but it's baseball card crypto with stuff that you're never going to use. So they're worth, half of their net worth now is these things, and there's access. Yeah, I have a little problem because it feels like you're kind of doing something with this, but it doesn't mean that I want to throw everything about him away. But I think that's a fair question to ask. It's like, dude,
you see the difference is how you ask it. Other people say, this proves he's Hitler. This proves like he's no, this doesn't prove it. You can literally question whether or not something's a good idea without hating someone. And I get the same thing. Yeah. Should our president be, who was it? The comedian said that at least Trump can push merch.
Oh, he can. There's no doubt. He'll get you to the damn gift shop on the way out of the White House. You know that's the first thing. He's like, we need to expand the gift shop.
We expanding it because I'm going to push merch. And you're like, do presidents need to push merch?
No.
I don't know if I care. So I don't know if I care. You know what I mean?
But this is the way I look at it. If Hunter Biden was selling a meme coin because he sold a $500,000 painting, he sold one of those. How did we feel? We all thought that's a little skeezy. This feels a little skeezy because his kids are making hundreds of millions of dollars. His wife is making. This feels like you're using this, because half of your net worth now are these coins. And the other thing is they're also selling access, which is scary.
If they're selling access to the president, I don't like it.
Yeah.
If the president has like Ethan Allen or something like this, or whatever, was it somebody had like a side business?
he's could you
or Samuel Adams or something,
Could you imagine him though going, check it out. This is the new Resolute desk from Ethan Allen. You guys can go and click below to the link. He's going to get marketing.
Like, what would be the downside of presidents being able to sell merchandise based on their personality? JFK sells a ton of merchandise.
Yes, but he's no longer with us.
He's no longer with us. He sells a ton of merchandise.
Like, when you're done, I have no problems. While you're in there, yes, because people are. Let's just because all the people that bought these things, all the coins, most of them are held by foreigners, right? Who 25 of them got a special meeting with Trump. If you bought X amount of coins, I find that. And one of them, Justin Sue, was being investigated by the SEC, and then Trump made it go away. There's where I have an issue.
The only caveat I always give to all this, where it says plane they whined about, which was never real and all this stuff, was of all the presidents we've had, how many millions have given him anal searches for something that he did illegal, and they come up with what was it, that dumb thing where he inflated his where none of the banks were victims, and then they come up with also he paid the woman to be quiet.
Well, she wasn't, obviously.
Exactly. So of all those investigative things into him, of all those weird, horrible, illegal things, if he really had any illegal things, if he did illegal stuff, it would have come out by now. There was too much money, too many people looking into it.
I think there's an issue here that they're going to look at here and this is why he needs to make sure that the economy rolls, because you and I both know this, dude. He could fix all the world's ills, but if the economy sucks, the Republicans get their ass handed to them in the midterms.
It will, but it doesn't look like it's sucking right now.
The world could be on fire, and if our economy's good, people are like, nah, we're not going to change. So, that's the one thing you've got to hit on the economy, and it's the economy.
Seems to be doing pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
and I think all the doom and again, that's why I don't believe any of the press. They doom and gloomed about his tariffs because they don't understand it. They doom and gloom about everything. Everything seems to be working out pretty well. The stock market's back.
We're going to find out, and here's the other thing too. Even if, as I said this the other day, let's say the shit goes sideways for 6 months. Well, 6 months isn't a year and a half from now. Now, granted, a year from now, you've got to be ready because that's when everything's in full swing. And you and I both know political momentum could take off fast. But if you've got to give stuff time to work, there's no doubt about that.
Yep.
And we're going to find out what it looks like. I think we're going to have some bumps in the road. I think we're due for some sort of recession because that's just life. You and I mean, we're in our 50s, dude. We've had recession. We've been through recessions every 7 years. We haven't had one in a long time. Not a real one.
Yeah. But I look at even my little I call it my canary in the gold mine little investment just on Robinhood. It's been steadily going up. I look at it, I'm like, you know what? Nobody knew what the tariffs were scary. I'm not going to say they weren't and the whole thing, but the doom and gloom sayers that were predicting the end of fiscal societies, I could never believe because they've always did nothing. If Trump got on stage and cured cancer or got up on stage and lowered our drug prices, they would tell you how wrong. Oh yeah, he did do that. They would tell you how bad it was.
He wants it. Let's be real. Congress, you need to do some of this stuff because
they do. Yeah.
All of these things, by the way, are a pen away from being undone. So this is where Congress comes in. But no, I mean, if he cured cancer today, the Democrats go, you know what everybody needs to do now? They got to go get cancer.
And what's funny is Trump's hyperbolic and he says a lot of stuff and every little thing he says, they pull him on. But you know who was going to cure cancer? Biden. And what does Biden have right now? Cancer. And isn't it funny that they don't talk about? I hope he gets better. Seriously, that's ridiculous. But it's funny that every dumb little thing Trump says, the media jumps on it like it means something. But if somebody they like says something dumb, like I'm going to cure cancer before I leave office, you didn't, dude.
Are the only things that matter. That's it. Actions are the only things that matter.
Actions are the only thing that matter.
And I go back to this movie that came out. I don't know, it was like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It was with Andy Garcia. And it was with Dustin Hoffman, and it was called Hero, where Dustin Hoffman was this grouchy, homeless guy, and he saves these people on an airplane, but he wants no part of any of the attention because he's such a curmudgeon. And Andy Garcia steps up, and he takes over for him, and everybody loves this guy because he knows he's a scumbag. He knows he can't. But Andy Garcia is totally fine with that, and that's a perfect example of one guy actually did action, the other guy's taking credit because he's the nice guy.
Yeah.
And
I think so I honestly believe at the end of the day, it's not Trump making all these decisions like in a vacuum. It's Trump with a lot of very smart banking guys around him. If you look at the history about these guys and what they've done in the past, I think that I am very bullish on this turning out good for the American economy. Now, I may be wrong, but I think at the end of the day, that doesn't mean we're not going to go through and it's not going to be perfect. But I believe at the end of the day, it's going to be better. We're going to be in a better position because of the moves Trump's made, which are scary and unique and weird and all that stuff.
They're uncomfortable. And you know what? And we don't like things being uncomfortable. And the one thing the stock market wants and the one thing a business owner wants is we want some stability. You can't tell us on Tuesday there's going to be 50% tariffs and then on Friday you're like, nah, I decided not to. People want stability. And I think when we get some of that stuff, and I've never been this is one of those things where when like with the tariffs, with China, I look at it this way with China. It's not about the Chinese people. It's about the Communist Party. He's a Maoist through and through, Xi. And the reality is, if we believe they are who we think they are, who we say they are, then this is a much different situation that needs to be handled in a much different way. I have zero problems with that. But also, if you put 50% tariffs on somebody, don't tell me that Walmart's going to eat all the tariffs and my prices aren't going to go up, because last time I checked, that's not going to happen.
No, well, yes, that's the balance. But that's my thing. When I look at China has been saying they've been taking advantage of us. Nancy Pelosi had a speech about how they were taking advantage of us back when she wasn't always drunk, when she was younger. And, they're talking about it. Trump's finally trying something to do something and crippling them. So notice their constant saber rattling is toned down a lot now, because you take away their economy, you take away their ability to wage war too.
Yeah. Well, that's the most important thing, because this is what
that's the most important thing. So is higher Walmart prices worth me not sending a younger generation to war with China? I believe 100%.
I have no problem with that. But my thing has always been, dude, Howard Lutnick, don't tell me that there's going to be a 50% tariff on something, but China's going to eat it. I mean, Walmart's going to eat it so they can lose. That's my thing. Don't gaslight me. Tell me, look, guys, things get a little tougher. Tighten our belts, little austerity. The reason is simply this. We're going to build ourselves stronger. We're going to do what we can. We're going to work with our allies and friends who want to hang out with us and who like the way of life that we have. And yes, things might get a little bit more expensive. So let's just deal with it as it goes. Tell me honestly, you don't have to gaslight me. That's my thing.
100%. Yeah.
Come on.
It's like, guys, it's a Kennedy speech we want.
Yeah.
We're going to do these things, not because they're easy, but because they're hard. Ask not what you can do for, a country,
But I think Kennedy gives that speech and people are like, oh, that seems like it's going to be a bit much. It's like, we don't like sacrifice. That's silly.
No, that's horrible.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think people always need to bet on America, no matter who's in charge.
Amen. I bet on America because of Americans and
because of Americans,
not the person at the top. I bet on it for us. It could have been. I've always said this. Make America great again. That's a great slogan. That's great branding. The reality is, America's always been great. Could we be greater? 100%. Could we be worse? We know that. But I bet on you and I and everybody else. People watching this. I bet on us. I bet on the spirit. Why this country was built. How it was built. And somebody's probably in the comments, it's because it was built on slavery. Okay, get over yourself.
It wasn't.
That's what I bet upon. And we put way too much into a guy in Washington, and you need to care more about your neighborhood, because your HOA will have a bigger impact on your life than most things that will happen in DC.
100%. And it's every 4 years we can change. Every 4 years. It's the beauty of this country that even if things are going poopy, the scary thing is, though, if enough dumb people, if Trump gets things going smooth, and enough people want to get Democrats in again who want to just redo everything back to going unsmooth again, that will be scary, but it can still course correct.
Yeah.
You can always course correct. And so, at the end of the day, I think, you see all the weird things happen. Like they're mad that Trump didn't end the war with Ukraine and Russia. Well, that's Trump. That's hyperbolic speech. He wasn't going to, I don't think anybody really believed it was going to be over in a day.
No, he's gotten further than others, but now we know too. Here's the other thing. Now we know. Okay, fine. Now the question is, this is where you make your bucks as a president. The choice is simply, are you going to say, well, Putin, if you're not going to do this, well, screw you, bro. Then you know what I am going to do? I've decided to change where I was going, and I've decided to give them everything they need, including planes that the last guy wouldn't give them, and tell them good luck with yourselves. And if they need anything else, call, if you're going to be that way. And oh, by the way, anybody you do business with, not you, but anybody you do business with and we do business with, we're going to tariff them, and we're also going to hit them with every other penalty we possibly can. So have a good time. We're going to squeeze every dollar out of you.
What is weird, though, is we're a very bipolar concept, because the moves that the rest of Europe is making against Russia almost is to counteract anything Trump's trying to do for peace. It's like, guys, Germany, all these other countries, back off. Stop supporting Ukraine so much just for a little while, because if we can bring people to the peace table, let's not continue saber rattling towards Russia, who we know is run by a dictator.
Yeah.
A ruthless dictator. You know what I mean? It's like, why do that? Why don't we all see if we can make peace now? Because, Germany's spending more than it's ever has. It's going to increase its military spending. It's mobilizing, 40,000 troops to go outside of Germany for the first time ever, which is scary, but whatever. I mean, hey, it's
well,
Germany.
I mean, look, and this is what I've heard always from the right is, hey, it's in your neighborhood. You need to take care of it. Well, they're kind of getting ready as a just in case, because if Trump does back away, we'll see what happens. Like it doesn't look. Now I know Poland's itching for a fight. I mean, I think we can all like they're like, you sons of bitches. Germany, what? If we're gonna. So I feel like there's a little bit of that, but the reality of, if Trump says America's done, we're stepping away. If I'm Putin, I've got no reason not to continue to do whatever the hell I want.
Other than you probably couldn't, because it's always a question to me. If he could, it's been the same lines in Ukraine for like over a year now.
Yeah.
If he had the ability to push forward, why didn't he?
And as long as he had our backing, our military might that we were handing him, you were always going to have the smaller army that was well determined was still going to have some sort of upper hand. If all of that dries up and you're out there with the makeshift, and if the Euros don't come through the way they say they will, then then it sticks in stone.
He can take over Ukraine, but if he can't take over that little army of Ukraine's because he had NATO backing, there's no way he can take over NATO.
No, he couldn't take over NATO. But you start going into NATO areas where then we're having to make a choice about, oh my God, do we have to get into this thing?
If he's that crazy, I don't know if he's that crazy.
No,
I think he might take Ukraine.
Think he's that crazy. But I think he's going to push it. He's a habitual line stepper, and I think he's going to push it for as far as he can. He's going to go right to that line and say, is anybody really going to test me? Because if not, then maybe I will.
That's why I think it's important to make a treaty. Because even Clinton said he abided by his treaties. Like once they finally got him to a brass tack, Putin was like, all right, well, we'll abide by that treaty. And hopefully Trump can do something there.
We'll find out.
The rest of the world, hopefully. I have no idea.
Then who knows where we go? It's going to be interesting. There's no doubt. This is going to be interesting. I didn't expect it day one. I think I've said by the middle of summer, I expect there to be a situation where they're in a 30-day, maybe a 90-day with a much longer conversation. And it's always been about, the difference between it's land for peace and what does that actually look like, and a guarantee. And I get why Zelensky's like, listen here, guys, I wouldn't look, I'm not going to give up all this stuff with you guys going, all right, they said they're not going to attack you and we're fine with they do. We're not going to come help you. No. If I'm giving this up, you're going to give up. If they come in and they break that, your asses are behind me now.
Yeah.
As any good negotiator would.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's good too, because like Reagan said, trust but verify.
Yeah.
Trust that they would. Same thing. Yeah. Oh, guys, guess what? Here's the treaty. But by the way, you break it, you break it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you broke it with us now. You broke it with us now. And unlike that one in 92 where we said, hey, you guys should give up your nuclear weapons, we'll totally be behind you. This one will actually be binding.
It'd be binding. Yeah. And I think, honestly, I'm just it would stop all the wars. That sounds stupid. I know it, but it is. It's for, do what we can to stop the wars and find a peace. And the world's going to constantly be full of dictators that want to be dicks. But there has to be a peace and a balance that we'll make with them.
Well, it is in the name, dictator.
It is. Yeah.
For those of you not keeping score, it is in the name. All right, brother. We do this again tomorrow?
Well, yes, let's do it.
All right, sounds cool. You guys have a good night. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'll do this again tomorrow. And, Coach, catch my show early in the morning, 6 to 9 Pacific, 9 to noon on the East Coast, ChadBensonShow.com. We got all kinds of goodies. We got shirts and the whole 9 yards. And we're going to have more shirts of us coming up as well. So,